Hi YouTube, it's Mama Doe Dawn. Little fun Charlotte is over watching cartoons, but I'm sure she'll make her cameo in here at some point in time. But it is the end of August, which means it is time for my August budget recap, where I go over everything that I spent over the entire month, how much I paid to debt, and whether or not I stuck to my budget. In a hot minute since I've been on, I keep saying I have this goal to get on and start doing videos super regularly, and then life just gets really busy. So I try not to miss my budget and budget recap videos, so I'm hopping on today, very tired, hair a mess, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna knock it out, and I'm gonna tell you guys about my spending this month. So I did better than last month, which is good, actually significantly better than last month, but little bit of a hiccup you'll see, basically just on food, which we kind of already know by now is the place where I impulsively spend money. I don't know why I tend to overspend on food. Actually, I do. It's like a stress habit for me. It's just really therapeutic in a way for me to buy food and cook food and eat food, and we'll dive into that here in a minute. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. What I usually talk about first is fluctuating costs throughout the month. So there are certain things that are always going to be the same. My phone bill is always going to be the same every single month. Minimum payments on different debts are going to be the same every single month. But fluctuating costs, grocery, pet, child, fuel, things like that, that is what we're going to go over first. I show you guys every single month, but I do have some new subscribers. So in my planner on the calendar page, every single day if I have spent money, I will get on that page and I'll write down exactly what I spent and what I spent it on. So we're just going to go through what I spent on each day. As always, I am super lazy. Nothing about these videos is super fancy, so I'm just going to be looking down and reading off to you guys. It's just the easiest way to do it. On the 1st, I spent $40 on fuel. On the 5th, I spent $25 on groceries. Then on the 6th, I spent $75 on groceries. I spent money on groceries multiple times, and typically I would go into the store needing 1 or 2 things for Charlotte, and I would walk out with way more things for both of us. So that is why I went to get groceries so many times, but it was always that impulsive spending of, oh, I want this, I'm hungry for this, let's get this for tonight, let's get this for next week. And it really added up over the month. So 2 days in a row in the beginning of the month, I went to get groceries. Then on the 7th, I got rental insurance for my new apartment, and we're going to discuss like the payment of the apartment a little later in this video. On the 12th, I spent $100 on a U-Haul, which was supposed to be way cheaper than that, but when they accounted for mileage, which they didn't when they originally gave it to me, I asked for an estimate. The estimate was like $35 after I had ran up miles on it, which really wasn't that many. It was maybe 60 miles. It became $100. So that was more than I anticipated, but kind of necessary to get moved in. On the 13th, I spent another $20 on groceries. On the 15th, I spent $30 on fuel. On the 18th, I spent another $60 on groceries. On the 20th, another $35 on groceries. On the 22nd, I bought $23 or $25, I rounded up, on canned cat food. On the 24th, I spent $40 on diapers for Charlotte. How do all of those costs tally into the budgets that I had set for myself? My fuel budget I had set at $100, and that's because in the past I had set it much lower and then ended up always spending more because I was taking my kiddo to parks and campgrounds and things like that, so I just accounted for more gas this month. So I had it set at $100, I only spent $70, which means I was $30 under budget on fuel. For my pet budget, I had $50 set for myself. I only spent $25, so I was $25 under budget. My child budget, I had $100 set. I ended up only spending $40, which means I was $60 under budget on my child. And grocery is really where it got me, because I had $100 set for grocery, which is like more than enough. We know from past grocery hauls I can absolutely survive on $100. I ended up spending $205, which means I was $105 over budget. And then the other costs that I incurred this month were rental insurance and the U-Haul, basically the cost to move, which was $105. When you even all of that out, it means that I was $95 over budget this month, which is so much better than, what was it last month? Like $700? Yeah, $685 over budget last month. So the fact that I moved and we had a lot of things going on, I was super busy, and I was still only $95 over budget is something I'm super proud of. Next month, we're going to totally kick that away, and I am not going to be over budget at all. But there is the additional thing that I have to note, that when I moved into this apartment, I took $1,000 out of my emergency fund, which was sitting at $3,000. It is now down to $2,000, and that was to cover my deposit and my rent. So I did spend $1,000 from my emergency fund to get moved into here. So that could sort of be accounted for in the budget. I'm not going to try to rebuild my emergency fund right now. I still have $2,000 in there, which I think is a safe amount to keep in there at the moment, while I just knock out a lot of these little debts that I have. That is something to keep in mind, that there was an additional $1,000 spent as well that just came out of my emergency fund. And we'll just go over all of like my stable costs throughout the month. The things that are always the same that I always spend money on. So my phone's $280. I try to go over this every single time. Really stupid, I have 2 different phones right now. Super long story. I've gone over it in other videos, but not going to reiterate it for like the 1000th time here. I have 2 phones that I'm working on figuring out a situation for, but $280 a month on those. Car lease is $400. Car insurance is $100. Again, I put $100 away into like a sinking fund, and then I pay my insurance 6 months in advance to get the discount, but I just put $100 away every single month for 6 months. Personal loan minimum payment is $400. Business loan minimum payment is $310. Credit card minimum payment is $200. Furniture loan minimum payment is $125. So yeah, all of those I spent those exact amounts on. Now let's talk about my debt payoff for the month. My starting debt for my personal loan was $9,700. At the end of the month, it was down to $9,400. Credit card started out at $2,800. It is now only down to $2,750, which is only a $50 decrease. This loan started out at $1,010. It is now down to $700, which is great. It is under that $1,000 mark, which I'm super happy about. I have 2 more minimum payments left on that, and it'll be kicked out. My furniture loan, again, also has 2 more minimum payments left. It started out at $425. It is now down to $300. My father remained the same. It was a tight month this month. I didn't give anything to him, and like I've mentioned in the past, he wants me to knock out all of my interest concurring debt before I tackle his, because his is not concurring interest. So his started at $4,680, and it is still sitting at $4,680. As I always mention, I don't know the exact amount that I have financed on my phones, but I'm guesstimating it's around $2,000. And my car, although it's a lease, I do like consider it a full debt for the full price of the car. So it is sitting around $30,000. I don't know exact numbers on either one of those things. I'm super lazy. You think like out of like the 3 last month, I would take a day and figure out both those things, but I have not. We'll figure those out in the future. I kind of just put them in the back of my mind. Like I know I'm paying the minimum payments on them. I'm getting them knocked out slowly, but like I just don't want the stress of knowing how much they actually are, I guess. So that puts my total at the start of the month at $50,615 of debt. At the end of the month, I brought my debt down to $49,830, which means I had paid $785 to my debt this month. I'm happy with what I did this month. Being over budget on groceries is a little discouraging. It's something that I mentioned in the past that I have a problem with. Just really bad eating habits and impulsively spending money on food in general. It's really the only thing I impulsively spend money on. I'm really bad about it. I need to get back into meal planning, creating grocery lists, and doing like the kitchen clean out method, where essentially you buy the groceries and you don't buy any more groceries until you've cleaned out everything in your kitchen. You've used everything that you possibly can. That's what I used to do. It's what I used to make videos about, and I just haven't done that for a while now. It's really hard for me after the coronavirus kind of just threw a huge hiccup and everything to kind of get back in the pattern of the lifestyle I was living before that. Money stress just impacts so many different aspects of your life, and it definitely impacted how I'm budgeting groceries and how I'm buying groceries. So still kind of working on figuring that out and getting that sorted out, but for this next month, that's a huge goal for me, is just making sure that I'm really paying attention to my grocery budget, making sure that I'm not overspending on food, and utilizing every single thing that I have in my kitchen, because right now I definitely have enough money in my kitchen to almost pretty much do a no buy for the next month and not buy any groceries. with my kiddo, there are a few little things I have to buy, and I just want to make sure that when I am going to the grocery store to get food for her, I am not impulsively buying stupid expensive foods for myself. Debt's still slowly decreasing. I am so excited to just get that business loan and that furniture loan completely wiped out. The furniture loan, especially considering I do not have either of the furniture items that I financed through that loan still. I sold them and I am like still paying them off, which really sucks. So I just really like to get that knocked out, get that done, completely close that Ashley furniture account, and never consider financing furniture ever again. But yeah, that is what I did this month. I'm pretty happy with myself. We just had a lot going on this month, and to be able to continue to put money towards debt and to not spend too wildly over on my budget was really good to see, and we're going to continue to tackle that into next month here. So if you're curious to see next month's budget, I'll be back on tomorrow with that, and as always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.